The Brooklyn Nets currently have a Ben Simmons problem, at least with the lineups that the Nets are currently running. The Brooklyn Nets are currently in second to last place in the Eastern Conference with a record of 1-4, and while we're only 5 games into the season, the Nets have already played some matchups against some of the top teams in the league, such as the Memphis Grizzlies and Milwaukee Bucks, as well as Pelicans and Mavericks teams that look like they're capable of winning somewhere to 40 to 50 games if they can manage to remain healthy. These are games that the Brooklyn Nets should be in the whole way, not only for 1/2 or 2.5 quarters of a game, yet they have lost 3 of the 4 previously mentioned games by double digits. While things look bleak for the Nets as of right now with the current roster that they have, there seems to be 2 things they need to do in order to be successful, and both of those things rely on Ben Simmons. And today, I'm going to get into what those things are. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, then make sure to give it a like because it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the Nets or the NBA, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. So while it's early into the season and the Nets have only played 5 games, as mentioned earlier, the sample size we've seen from them hasn't been great whatsoever. As I mentioned in my Nets 2022 to 2023 season predictions video, it's important to remember that this is a brand new roster of guys on the floor together, and it's going to take them some time to get used to one another. But I do still think there comes a point where you need to realize and understand how to grow as a team, and learning from their mistakes simply is just not there. They have had their moments during the regular season, and hell, even in the preseason, where they looked absolutely brilliant together. The ball really moves, the pace is very up-tempo, and teams can't seem to figure out how to stop this potent Nets offense. Then either the team's aggression disappears, or Coach Steve Nash makes a substitution or change to the team that throws everything off, and the team never gets back on track. In terms of the substitution side of things, I want to take a look here at how the Nets offense and defense look at the 5 position. These stats are from prior to the Nets game against the Dallas Mavericks this past Thursday night, but in 75 minutes of plays together, the Nets have an offensive rating of 100.7 when Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton are on the floor together. In 27 minutes, with Day'Ron Sharpe and Simmons on the floor together, the Nets have an offensive rating of 92.1. With Simmons and any big out there with him, they have an offensive rating of 98.1. And while it's only 16 minutes of play, the Nets have an offensive rating of 134.4 when Simmons is out there with no center. If that's not a telling sign, then I don't know what is. In terms of the defensive ratings in those areas, they have ratings of 119.4, 130.6, 122.6, and then a whopping 93.3 respectively. And their net rating in those areas goes from negative to positive with ratings of negative 18.7, negative 38.6, negative 24.4, and then it flips to a positive 40.4 along with a plus 12 plus minus rating compared to all the negatives when Simmons is on the floor with a big man. So it seems all of the signs are there for the Nets to start playing Simmons at the 5 position or just playing him with no centers in the lineup. Here's another stat from prior to the Nets game against the Mavs, so I'm not sure how much they've changed in this area, but probably not much considering the fact that they lost yet again. And the Nets have a much better offensive and defensive rating with Ben Simmons off the floor than they do with him on the court, and that is very alarming to see. The next thing I wanted to touch on is how Ben Simmons starts off the game aggressive, but then his aggression subsides once the second half of play begins. For example, here to start the night during the Nets game against the Bucks on Wednesday, Simmons looked aggressive to start the game, as right here he powered up after getting into the body of Lopez for the bucket. Also look how Simmons got a tee after going at Giannis, but Simmons talking back and getting into the game is another sign of his aggression early, in my opinion. Now here you have a post-split action with Simmons in the post and Durant coming off the screen for the bucket. Right here you have a great pass from Mills in transition to hit Simmons, streaking after Kyrie gave a pass. Another positive first half play here is from Simmons in the post as he goes over Holiday at the top of the screen flare. So Kyrie cuts to the hoop for an easy basket. And in one of the final first half plays of the night, the Nets run a fast break where Simmons will hit Royce O'Neal for a 3, but then in the second half, I have no positives to show you from Simmons and his aggression, as it simply just diminished, and Giannis bullied him for the entire third quarter as the Bucks outscored the Nets by 14 points in the third quarter, and the rest of the game was pretty much history from that point on. The same could be said about the Nets' other regular season games as well, even the game that they won when they played the Toronto Raptors last Friday night. In terms of their recent game against the Mavs, they once again got Simmons going early, here with a post-up, here with a more aggressive move than despite the miss. At least he's trying to shoot the basketball and be aggressive. Here Simmons sets up Durant for a three. Right here, though, Simmons shows how timid he is on defense as him and Royce O'Neal just allowed JaVale McGee to slip right to the hoop. Once again, though, at the end of the third quarter, Simmons shows his aggression as he passes the ball nicely to Durant, who feeds it back to him for the bucket. And then he dishes the ball off to David Duke Jr. for the bucket. Then, in the second half of play, the hero ball and ISO play started from the Nets after they had shown great signs of moving the ball well in the first half, and Durant and Irving finished with 37 and 39 points respectively, so they were able to keep them in the game and push the game into an overtime period, but they still lost, further proving, at least to me, that the hero ball from the Nets and not playing Simmons as the only non-shooter on the floor simply won't result in many wins for the Nets, and a Nets team that is extremely loaded. There's two things I want to mention before I end this video, and the first is that it seems like playing Yuta Watanabe in the rotation is another key that the Nets need. Ben and Watanabe have played decently well together, and Watanabe is a player who can shoot the three ball, unlike Claxton and Sharp, so it's not surprising that Simmons and him have played solid together, with the fact that Simmons chooses not to shoot, and he's the only non-shooter on the floor when Watanabe is in there and the team goes small. The next thing is that I've heard people make excuses for the Nets' last two losses by saying that the reasoning is because they don't have Seth Curry, Joe Harris, or TJ Warren. And while I think those players would have definitely helped the Nets in both games, I think you have to remember in one of those two games, the game against the Bucks on Wednesday night, the Bucks also didn't have Chris Middleton, who is one of the best sharpshooters in the league, and his absence is personally the reason I believe the Bucks did not advance to the NBA Finals last season. So I think it's time to stop with the excuses, just look at the statistics, the analytics, and the film, and understand what needs to be changed and what needs to be done, because it feels like all of the necessary answers are right in front of the Nets. And while we're only 5 games into the season, this group together has only played 5 games that matter, and Ben Simmons is coming off of a year-long layoff of not playing and an injury. I think those are all excuses, especially when we look at the sample size of highlights that we've seen since the regular season began. And it appears Ben Simmons at center, or as just the only non-shooter on the court, is truly the answer, and also that the hero ball and isolation play needs to go out of the window as well. I know Simmons starting at center sounds crazy at first, but if you look at the stats, as well as the fact that there's less than about 10 or hell, maybe even 5 teams in the league that would exploit Simmons at center, you realize that unless Ben Simmons could magically start shooting the basketball on the free throw line and from beyond the arc, that this seems to be the only solution to the Nets' problems right now, barring a roster change and, of course, excluding how much they need to stop with the isolation basketball. So guys, that's just how I feel about the Nets' current issues and the Ben Simmons situation with them that they have. But I want to know what you guys think about this Nets team, any of their players, or anything that we talked about in this video down below in the comment section. If you like the video, then make sure to give it a like, as it helps out a lot. And if you're new to the channel and or enjoy the Nets or NBA related content that I make, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you stay up to date with all the newest content on my channel. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'm SCJ and I am out. Peace.